What's going on, everybody? Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well today. And we are going to be doing something a little bit frivolous in this video. I will admit, this may not be the most useful thing to do. It is almost certainly not going to be particularly accurate either, but it is fun. And sometimes you just do stuff to have fun. We are going to be doing a way too early 2026 Seattle Seahawks mock draft. Yes, there is an industry built around doing way too early mock drafts. We are almost a year away from the 2026 draft. That doesn't mean we can't start thinking about it. And there are people that get paid to start thinking about draft classes a year in advance, or 2 years, or sometimes even 3 years. That's how this flow goes. You find out about this stuff years in advance, so you have the opportunity to project stuff out a little bit. So thought I'd go ahead and throw together a quick little way too early 2026 Seattle Seahawk mock draft, keeping in mind that I have no idea where we're going to pick, so I'm just going to guess. And that doesn't really matter that much anyway, because these players can slide up or down so easily anyway. So we're just going to kind of try to roughly judge it and go from there. So let's go ahead and get into it here. I'll just go through the picks. By the way, to my knowledge, the Seahawks have a first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth next year. They do not have a seventh, and they don't have any extra picks, I don't think. And I'm not expecting any compensatory picks because we didn't lose any major free agents this most recent offseason. The guys we lost, we traded, and you don't get comp picks for trades. So let's go ahead and just take a look at those 6 picks. I think that's all we're going to have unless we do stuff mid-season or I guess in some cases after the season. So let's go ahead, take a look here. Way too early, 2026 mock draft. Going to start off with another offensive lineman, Francis Mauigoa, a right tackle from Miami. If that name sounds familiar, he did have a very similarly named brother playing linebacker on the Hurricanes last year. So there's a reason why you might recognize his name. Now, Mauigoa, the tackle, is significantly more interesting as a prospect compared to his brother. This is a guy who's fully expected to be a first-round pick. He's had 2 good years at right tackle for the Hurricanes, and 2025 is obviously a big year for him. It's an opportunity for him to really prove himself. It might be an opportunity for him to slide over to the left side, which would boost his stock because left tackles are always going to be more valuable than right tackles. So maybe he gets to bump over there now that Jalen Travis is out. Or maybe it was Jalen Rivers. One of the Jalens was the left tackle for Miami last year. But yeah, this guy has a chance to maybe slide over. I don't know if he's going to have guard flexibility. He does have pretty long arms, to my understanding. At least that's the belief. We don't know for sure until they get measured at the combine. But it does seem like his arm length is sufficient to play tackle. So he's probably a tackle. That doesn't mean he can't play guard at all. And beyond that, we might need a right tackle next year. Abe Lucas, last year of his deal, if he plays really well, we might not be able to afford him. And if he doesn't play well, then we're not necessarily going to want him. So either way, there's a scenario where we need a right tackle. So definitely going to play with that possibility. And if it turns out that Mauigoa is going to be our left guard, I think that can work as well. If Zabel ends up sliding over to center, then we still have that desperate need at the left tackle spot. But either way, this can work. So that's my first round pick. We're going to slide down to round number 2 now. David Bailey, edge rusher from Stanford, a guy that I've been watching since the most recent college year. He did not declare out of Stanford after his junior season, but he had a good junior season. 7 sacks, which was a career high for a Stanford team that didn't really give him a lot of support. Not a lot of fun stuff going on that Stanford team. 2025 is a very important year for him if he continues to ascend the way he's been ascending the last couple of years. If he becomes a double-digit sack guy, and if Stanford maybe makes a little bit of headway into being taken a little more seriously as a football program, then I think a guy like David Bailey would fit in very nicely, maybe even edging up to the first round. For now, I think he'll be a second rounder. He's certainly undersized, but I think that he is perfect for playing a stand-up role in a 3-4 defense. He plays mostly in a 2-point stance. He's even done some stuff where he's moved around in space and lined up in the slot. I don't know if he'll be able to do that in the NFL, but he is that athletic guy that I think fits in well in a 3-4 defense, especially if McDonald already has his big edge, which he should in DeMarcus Lawrence. So that would be my second round pick right now. Third round, we're going with Deion Burks, wide receiver from Oklahoma. Deion Burks probably, I'm going to say, would have declared last for this most recent draft if he did not get hurt. Deion Burks was a transfer from Purdue, was building up his career at Purdue, transferred to Oklahoma, was on track to, I think, have a monster year, and then he only played 5 games. In those 5 games, he caught 31 passes, so he was doing work. So you are probably looking at a guy who would have had, he would have edged up at least somewhat close to 100 catches for the Sooners, especially with them getting to probably play around 13 games. Probably his yards would have eventually gone up. He had a very low yard per reception on his first 5 games. That probably would have gone up. To my knowledge, and again, you never know for sure until they get officially measured, he's a little bit of a bigger guy. He can play on the outside, which I think is something that we're really going to need. Outside receivers are going to be a precious commodity for this team. I think that Deion Burks can provide that. I know that this website, the Sports Reference, has him listed as a smaller guy, but I don't think he's that small in practice. We'll see. And he mostly has experience playing outside at Purdue. We'll see how his 2025 goes, but if he stays healthy, he'll probably have a very big season, and he'll probably be a relatively coveted player. Right now, roughly estimated in the 3rd round. I'd be pretty excited about that. Round number 4, I'm going with Dante Corleone, and I'm going to say it right now, I would be somewhat surprised if he's still a 4th round pick in 10 months here. I think that Dante Corleone is someone who is just due to have a bounce back season for Cincinnati and really just kind of lay his claim as a top nose tackle prospect. Maybe not quite Ken Grant, but very, very good. You look at Dante Corleone, first of all, he's a true nose tackle. He plays almost all of his reps in A gap. So that's something that we really cherish around here because a lot of players can't do it. A lot of players don't do it. And after a really standout 2022 season, he's been battling stuff that I think has interfered with his ability to play at his highest possible level. Like, look at his PFF grade from 2022, almost a 94. And then the last couple years, it's trailed off significantly. This was a guy who supposedly had a career-threatening blood clot injury that was supposed to keep him out for some of this most recent season. It only kept him out the first game. I remember reading stuff before the season started about how this guy might have it was kind of like the Chris Bosh thing, but he was back by week 2, and he actually had a relatively monster game in week 2 with 7 quarterback pressures and 4 tackles. Maybe his best game of the year in terms of raw stats. So I think that this guy just needs to have a clean season where he doesn't have to worry about this stuff, where he doesn't have to worry about blood clots and injuries or anything like that. I feel like he's going to get back to the point where he's just a lockdown nose tackle. He did a lot of work getting pressures last season as well, which was relatively new. He had almost 30 pressures last year, probably would have had 30 if he had played every game. So that's coming. And I think that this guy's probably going to end up a much higher pick than a 4th rounder. But for the moment, that's where it's estimated you can get him. So we're going to go with that. 5th round, I got a cornerback, Ashton Stamps, cornerback out of LSU. Another guy that LSU is currently playing on the outside. He's got the size to play on the outside. Some pretty good metrics so far. At 2025, of course, is going to be an important year for him proving that he can be like a real NFL asset. He's got decent coverage metrics. One thing holding him back is that he's yet to have a single interception, but 2024, he showed some good ball production. Doesn't get penalized a lot as well, which is always nice. There's something going on here with Ashton Stamps. Wouldn't surprise me if he moves up by the time we get to the season, but I don't think he's going to be a blue chipper by any stretch, so 5th round's good. And my final pick for this way too early 2026 mock draft, Connor Talty, the kicker from Alabama. And he hasn't done any kicking yet because Alabama had a kicker for several years, and they finally didn't have one for they finally don't have one for this upcoming season. Talty is projected to be their kicker, and he's expected to be very good and probably be a draft pick in the 2026 draft, unless he stays back, which kickers sometimes do. So that is my way too early 2026 Seahawks mock draft. Let me know what you guys think. Maybe another video later today, maybe not. I'm going to go and get out of here. Peace out. Go Hawks. Just having a little fun, guys. Don't take it too seriously. We're going to start on this stuff down the line for sure. When the season starts, when the college season starts, I'll be talking a lot more about these guys and other guys like them. But I understand that right now we got limited information. Still fun to think about. Go Hawks.